taller of my friend.
Taller of my two friends. Yeah, it could be among between my two friends. Taller of you are two people. Among these, who is taller? So when there are just two people, you would say of. If you are more, then you can use them. Right? So D is the correct answer. Okay, 23. The girls watched intently as the model applied makeup. Yes, with a practiced hand. Okay. Now here there's a difference between what is the difference between practice with a C and practice with an S?
Now,
Which one is the noun?
C is
With C is the noun. Okay, now first thing, practicing can be eliminated. Anybody else? What is the difference between practice with a C and practice with an S? Yes? Nobody? Practice with an S is the verb. And practice with the C is the noun. Write it down. Okay? Now it says practiced hand. You are described, we are using it as an adjective. So what will be the adjective be? It won't be practiced hand as in B. It won't be practiced hand as in C. Right? So adjective, what does adjective describe? It describes the noun. Yeah. So what form should it take over here? It should take the verb form. Yeah. So it will be A-S-E-D. Practice with an S.
now because it is an adjective, so every time it's an adjective, it will be verb form.
Right? In this case specifically, because it's talking about an action being done. Right? So that action describes the hand. It is related to the hand. Practice hand means she has experience. So if you are confused, convert it into a simpler form. What does it actually mean? So are we looking for a verb? Are we looking for a noun? And here we are looking for a verb. Okay, any other questions? No? Assignment, you done? No doubts. No doubts. Very clever people, no doubts. Did you get them correct? Did you check your answers? Did you get any wrong? Miss Harini, any doubts? No?
No.
Worship? No doubts? Check your answers? Yes or no?
Yes.
Complete assignment? I hope everyone has completed the assignment. Now, here I am not going to go as in the school level, सबका homework लेके check करना है. It's your responsibility to do your homework. Your responsibility to come up with your doubts. Okay? Yeah. Yes, please.
That sequence is actually beautiful.
25th class. Credit bill is paid in full and on time. That's correct.
Yes.
Non-finance charges are levied. Will be no finance charges. Or like in the last one, it says no penalty charges are levied. So if you look at A, that will be incorrect. B, non-financial charges is also incorrect. C, no non-finance charges is also incorrect. What are you left with? C. And no penalty charges is the same as no finance charges. Okay, that's it. So, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Have you done the assignments?
Yes, ma'am. Let me just check. Yes, ma'am. I think I've done.
You got any doubts?
Ma'am, I'll just check, ma'am. I'll let you.
Okay, then check. Okay, so last time we did the adjectives. Yeah, we are left with the adverbs part. Did you go through the book for the lesson on adjectives? You did? One did? Didn't do the book. Did? So anything that is not understood?
It says lot of things to remember.
Yeah, there are of things. Small things, but important. Now that will, remembering, you can't just mug up and remember. That will come with practice. So that's why the more questions you do, the better it is. Now once you finish the questions in the book, I can give you extra questions. Right? Okay. So we move on to the adverbs. Now everyone knows what adverbs are. What do adverbs do? Everyone sign? Please pass it. So what are adverbs supposed to do? Adjectives are verbs. Yeah. So adjectives are used to modify nouns. Yeah. And adverbs can modify verbs and adjectives. And they can also modify other adverbs. Yeah, everything. So, when we talk about adjectives, can you give me an example of describing what kind? Anyone? So they can tell you what kind of a thing it is, which particular object or which particular place, yeah, how many. No idea. Think. Suppose I say he ran very fast. What is the verb? Ran. What is the adjective? Fast. Yeah. So what is very doing? Describing the verb. So that's an adverb. Right? Anything that gives you extra information about either the verb or the another adjective, that would be an adverb. Yeah. They may ask you, they did in for Jammu and even for I think symbiosis. They give you a table with sentences and they can ask you to identify the underlying word. Yeah, the figure speaks of that underlying word. So you should know whether it's an adverb or adjective or just a noun or just an article, whatever it is. So only there where we need to know exactly, yeah?
For example, this is like more better. So more is adverb.
More, better, both are, yeah, more is an adverb, but would we say more better? Yeah, when we use more with something, then that would be comparative, but yes, it's an adverb. It's an adverb if it is describing either the adjective or the verb, right? So you have to see if whether there is something else added to it. Do you have an adjective added to it or do you have an adverb added? Yeah, then it will be an adverb. So adverbs usually end with ly, right? Usually there can be other forms, but in general, when you have, like he walks slowly. Yeah, what is slowly doing? Describing how he walks.
Like the word typically.
Typically, yeah, that's an adverb. So if you find a word ending in ly, try to figure out what it is doing. Yeah. So if it is describing a verb, it's an adverb. Right? Usually we use adverbs when describing words or some other adjective. Say this is seemingly difficult question. What is difficult? What is difficult? Verb, adjective, noun, pronoun, what? Adjective, right? Is describing the question. What is seemingly doing? Describing how difficult. So it's an adverb. Yeah, it's describing the adjective. Kunal eats very slowly. Right? Now, if you remove very, what do you have? Kunal eats slowly. So slowly is describing how Kunal eats. So what is slowly? Adverb. It's describing eats. Right? It's describing the verb. Now, what is very doing? Describing how slowly. So that becomes an adverb. Right? Now we have different types of adverbs. So they now it's good to know, not that you have to mug it up and just you have to apply. So if you have a situation where, say for example, adverbs of manner, what do? They show how. Yes, please. You are. You are in the IP man batch. Okay, see if your name is on the list. If not, then please write your name. Okay. Okay, so if we say quickly, carefully, loudly, gladly, what are they describing? How? So it's an adverb of manner. Adverb of time will describe when. Yeah. Say yesterday, now, soon. This will not always end in ly. Of late is what? Of late I haven't been keeping well. So it will give you time. Now, soon, place, everywhere, nearby. Okay? So these will be adverbs of place. Frequency, how often it happens? Seldom, rarely. These are describing how often something happens, right? Sometimes. These are also adverbs. Degree, we have done degree. So if we say something is quite good. Good is what? Adjective. Quite, describing the adjective. It's an adverb. Yeah. Almost. Is almost as tall as you. Almost here is an adverb. It's describing how tall he is. Right? Extremely. There can be other words. Here are just a few. Now, conjunctive adverb. These usually we will do in details when we do conjunctions. But however, therefore, moreover, these are what? Transition words. Yeah, conjunctions which build up the connection between two ideas, two parts of a sentence. Yeah, I hope you're following. Yeah, in the middle of something that comes in. So we are doing adverbs, basic. We'll move on to something more complicated. Okay, however, what does however do? If you have however in a sentence. Think of a sentence with however. Anybody? Yes? Can be a little louder so everyone can hear it. So what does however do here? What is the function of the of however? The word however. What is it doing? It's setting up a contrast. Yeah, contradictory or contrast. Similarly, therefore, what will therefore do?
Thereafter, give some.
So, if there's a cause effect relationship, then you use therefore or because. So, because is when you are dealing with the cause. Therefore, when you are dealing with the result. Right? Furthermore, add something. Yeah? When you say this is happening, furthermore, this is also true. Similarly, moreover, is also when one idea is already expressed and you are adding another idea. Interrogative adverbs, what do? Ask a question. Yeah? About when, where, how, why, etc. Relative adverbs also can be when, where, and why. Like, I stepped out just when it started raining. What is it doing? It started raining and I stepped out. It's giving the relationship between the two actions. So that becomes a relative adverb. Right? Now, usually in your exam, it doesn't go into so much of detail that they ask you what type of adverb, but they may. Well, IP Mat is all these exams surprise you a lot. So you fully prepared with one type of question. Something comes up similar, but not exactly the same. So you need to be prepared with it. So you know it is an adverb and you know how it is used. Then if they say whether it is a relative adverb or conjunctive adverb, you will know. And okay, this is not a relative adverb, this is a conjunctive adverb, this is how it is used. Yeah. So the usage of a particular figure of speech, you should know thoroughly. So any question that comes up related to that, you can answer. Right? Okay, then one more. Adverb of purpose. When you have something with to do, what is show? Like to ensure that everyone does their homework, the teacher made them write down the assignment. Yeah. So it's telling you why the teacher made them write the assignment. So to ensure. In order to, that shows the purpose. Yeah. Now, there are certain words which IPMAT really loves. Yeah. And we need to deal with, like the word since. Since is also an adverb. What does it show? Time. Yeah. Huh? From a point of time. Right? So since will tell you when the activity started. I have been preparing since last January. Yeah. Now if I say I have been preparing for a year, what does that denote? So for is used for a period of time. Since you use when it is, are you sleeping? So since will be used when it is beginning from a particular point of time. Right? So can you give me a use of since? Anybody? Sarika? Think of any sentence. Videos. First, since, think about yourself and bring up a sentence with since.
I have been alive since 2008.
Yes, Tom,
I have been alive since 2008.
I've been alive since 2008. That's a nice one. Anything else? So, Tom, okay. Yes, who's, yes, Varshit?
Ma'am, I have been living in Bombay since 2018.
Yes, that's very good. So this is from a point of time till the present, right? Now it is, if it is from a point of time and it has ended in the past, you won't use since. Yeah, since is, it is continuing. Okay. I have been waiting here since yesterday. Yeah. So yesterday is a particular day. Okay, when do you use till? It is still raining today. So it has started raining at some previous point of time, still continuing. Right? So something that has started in the past, so usually related to an activity. Now since can be used for like state of being or activity, still will usually be with some action on. Right? So like he still hasn't given me the answer to my question. Yeah, you won't use since in this case. Doesn't work. Yeah, though we say since is also from a point of time till now, not in all cases. Okay, now coming to T002. When do you use to? When do you use to? You use it so often. Yeah, something when you want to exaggerate or like I am too tired.
It is
Yeah.
too much.
It's just too much. Should we use too much?
Yeah.
We should. After that, let's too much before adjective is wrong. Right? So we usually use too much, but grammatically incorrect. Right? So as we go along, you'll find there are lots of things we use, we say, but they are grammatically wrong. Right? So why too much is wrong? We say you are too much nice to him.
The student might are representing a certain.
Yeah. They're doing the same thing. Yeah. You are too nice to him. That is required. Much is not required. Right? So whenever you come across a sentence with too much, be alert. Yeah. So these are what since. Any sentence with since, how is it used? Still, you have to figure out whether it is used correctly or not. Similarly, too much, they will give you too much. Because they know you think it's correct. Unless you have actually studied and you know it is wrong. Yeah? So 50% of the students will mark it correct. Whereas 50 who have studied will know this is incorrect.
But not right, for example, this exists too much. So what should we
See, there's a difference between colloquial, that is conversational English, and written English. So here we are dealing with written English.
But in speaking also, right?
Yeah, in speaking you may say too much, but that is not grammatically correct. But in a colloquial language, that is way of speaking, you can use it. But when you are writing, it's not allowed. So when you are dealing with grammar and an exam, it's incorrect. Otherwise also it's incorrect, but it's just a way of expressing. But not that it is grammatically used. Okay? So now you know too much is not to be used. Now how do you use enough? Enough means
More than expected.
more than desired. Yeah, you don't. Like how much so? That's also an adverb. The house is enough large. Large enough. Right? Is the house enough large? No. Large enough. So when you're using enough, it should come after the adjective. Right? Large is the adjective. It should come after the adjective. Never use enough before the adjective. Okay, now what's the difference between fairly and rather?
Mom, I have a doubt, mom.
Yes, please.
Mom, when we say that we have had enough of your nonsense, so is that grammatically correct?
It's not grammatically correct, but we do use.
All
There
right.
are lots of words and phrases we do use. It may not be grammatically correct.
Okay, understood.
Right? So fairly and rather seem to mean the same thing? Hmm? Fairly means?
Or rather, eating it so it's like I won't prefer eating ice cream. I
Rather,
would eat chocolate. I would rather eat chocolate.
okay, yes, comparatively do. Now, fairly and rather, both are adjectives. Now, in a sentence, fairly would go with something positive, rather would go with something negative. You can remember this, right? Like he's fairly good at his work. Yeah. Now, you would not say he's rather good. Hmm? Rather will go with something that is not positive. So, Akash is a fairly intelligent student. That is correct. Intelligent is something positive. Hmm? Now, rather intelligent is intelligent. Fairly dumb. Dumb is what? Negative. We won't say he's fairly dumb. We'll say he's rather dumb. So this you have to remember the usage of fairly and rather. You can write it down if you want to. So fairly is always used in the positive sense, rather is always used in the negative sense. Yeah. Okay. Now, when we make comparisons, we use as, double as. It's as white as snow, as good as gold, right? So, when do we use them? Do we use them when we, now, one thing you have to remember, as is used when you are comparing similar qualities, not dissimilar qualities. Yeah? The same quality between two things, we can compare. So if there's some dissimilarity, we won't use as. For example, so it goes with as plus the adjective or adverb and the second as. Yeah, as slowly as a tortoise. The cake is as delicious as the one we had yesterday. So what are we comparing? How delicious the two cakes are. Same quality of the two things. As cunning as a fox. We use this. So what is cunning? Adjective. Yeah. We are comparing a quality. So somebody is as cunning as a fox. The same quality between the person, that person or a being and the fox. Yeah. So when you are comparing the same quality between two people or two entities, you can use as. The weather this summer is as bad as last year. It hasn't stopped raining for weeks. What are we comparing? The weather between this year and last year. And how bad it is.
In the first as from before the adjective.
Yeah. Before the adjective or adverb. Yeah. So it's this. We use as, first as comes before the adjective or adverb. Second comes after.
It's always the
Always. Adjective or adverb. Yeah. As slowly is adverb. Yeah. Slow is adjective. Slowly becomes adverb. So that's why we said before the adjective or adverb and the second ad after adjective. Right? Now, how do we do negative comparison? with as, we just add not. He is not as successful as a brother. Yeah. So if you have a sentence, she is successful, but her brother is not successful, that is not the same comparative. She is unsuccessful, her brother is also unsuccessful. So we can compare. Both are unsuccessful. So if we combine the two together, we get she is not as, sorry. Both are not, we are talking about success. We can say she is not successful, her brother is successful. So she is not as successful as her brother. Right? So we have one negative, one positive, we are comparing the two. So not as adjective or adverb, as. Correct? So that would be when we are doing negative comparison. Like they didn't play as well as they usually do. So that means they usually play well, but now they didn't play. So when we are comparing the two situations, not as. Okay? Simple things, but when we come to a sentence, in an exam, we may miss out. Yeah, that's why it's important to keep it in our mind. Now, what about a possibility? As soon as possible, can you come as soon as possible? This work has to be finished as fast as possible. So, if you are talking about a possibility, or go to as many places as you can, as many places as. Okay, it's describing how many places. So, this is a case where we're talking about something that can possibly happen, or that should be made possible. Then also we can use as. Yeah. We got there as fast as we could. We got there fast can be converted to as fast as we could. So as fast as possible. Yeah. Now, where else can we use as? As is a very important word. It can come in slightly, change the meaning of the sentence. Yeah. Small little word we can miss out on. Now, if it indicates manner, how something is done. He did the job as he was told. He uses do as you are told. Moms usually. There is a sheet. So when your mom tells you, just do as I have told you. Yeah, it's an order. So, as he did his job as he was told. Now, as can be used to express degree, extent of something. So if you say he was angry, but she was just as angry. What does that mean? The two people were angry in a similar situation. So it compares the same degree. or if something happens the same way. As always, he said little. As always, no one did their homework. As always, he is late to class. Yeah. So here what we are saying that, or as always, the traffic was bad. Now, it can something that always happens. It's in honest is silent as in now. Yeah, two things. In both of them, is a silent. So when you are comparing, or something that always happens. So here we have two things doing. As is doing two things. It's comparing and also saying this always happens. Right? She enjoys all kinds of music as I do. What is as doing here? So both of them enjoy music. I enjoy music, she enjoys music, and there's similarity. So when you are talking about similarity, we can use as. Now, as can be used as a conjunction when you are connecting, like, she didn't do his homework as she was sick. What is as doing? Connecting the two parts of the sentence. Yeah, or connecting to other words. Like as the sun set, the birds flew home. So what are the two parts? The sun set and the birds flew home. So as is showing that while the sun set, the birds flew. Okay? So just a few uses, quite a few in fact. Now we come to as much as many as. This is very important. Now we've already done when do we use much, when do we use many. Much is used for with. When is much used? Countable, non-countable. Countable. Countable is much. Many. Many is uncountable. Much is uncountable. Many is used when you are dealing with something countable. It's very important to remember this. When to use much, when to use many. You can go wrong in your sentence and minus one. Okay, so when you are referring to quantity, as much as with uncountable nouns, write it down. As much as uncountable. And as many as with countable nouns or plural nouns. Okay? You don't have any book? So you must never make a mistake between countables and uncountables. We've done countables and uncountables earlier also. Now what you will do? Maybe you will go home, sit down, write a list of uncountable things and a list of countable things. Right? So you know where to use much, where to use many. So yeah. Greg makes as much money as me, but not as much as me. Now, money here is a volume. We are not talking about exactly how much, right? So in this case, money becomes uncountable. So we will say as much as, right? He made much money. We don't know how much. That is uncountable. Freedom is countable or uncountable? What type of a noun?
That's right.
Uncountable, right? What type of a noun? Abstract noun. Any abstract noun is uncountable. So if we say they try to give them as much freedom as they can, we won't say as many freedom. There weren't as many people there as I expected. Now we are talking about how many people. That is countable. So we use many. Here we will not say there weren't as much people as I expected. So we usually lots of times we say much. Grammatically incorrect. Right? So they weren't as many. Because when you're talking about people and now wait, okay, another thing in a sentence, always look at the context. Right? Maybe in some context, people is in a general term. In that case, it could be uncountable. But in this case, I'm talking about how many people I expected. Right? So it will be countable. We will use many, not much. Now, if there is a, yeah,
Like, the amendment was made for the people, so the people is in the survey.
yeah. So that I say, always look at the context. Yes. Are you feeling sleepy? No, sister. Grammar is a little boring and we do tend to be sleepy. Enough? But this is very important. Okay, so when we are referring to a large number of people, now this is a little exception from what we were talking about the number, countable or not countable. When we are talking about a large number, then we can use much. Right? Like, if you look at the context. Scientists have discovered a planet which weighs as much as 2,500 times the weight of Earth. So as much as we are comparing. So when you have comparison, but you have a number, you will use much. And if it is very large. So weight of Earth, weight of a planet, which is 2,500 times the weight of Earth, is a big number, which maybe we can use much. Okay? So context is very important. Yeah. Then we can say as many as, okay. Now here we are talking about the Earth. The size. Size of, is as such what? Abstract one. Yeah. So when you're talking about the size, which is an abstract noun, if you look at it that way, then it is uncountable. Right? If we say the Earth has as many as 50 species of birds, then it is countable. Or the planet has as say something that is countable attached to the number, then we will use many. Yeah. Say as many as so many minerals. So as many as the number of minerals that Earth has, so that we can count. Right? So when you're talking about size, size is an abstract. So we will go with much. Yeah. In this sentence, there are as many as 50 people crowded into a tiny room. We know exactly how many people. So, as many. It's countable. So, countable, many, uncountable, much. Whether you are comparing, you are using as much as many as, or otherwise, yeah, even if you're using just many or much without the as, same way. So many is always for countable, much is always for uncountable. Yeah, so you have to remember this thing. Okay, now how to form the adverbs, right? Now usually we said that if you add ly to the verb or ly to the adjective, you will get the adverb, right? Now what about words like daily? It's already ending in ly. So daily can be used as an adverb and an adjective. It's a daily routine. What is daily here? Adjective or adverb? Adjective. Yeah. He runs daily. Adverb. Yeah. See, if we say the daily edition of the newspaper, what is daily doing? It is describing the edition. So it's an adjective. So if you have to identify the part of speech of daily, it's an adjective. But if we have the newspaper arrives daily, what's daily doing over here? It's describing how it arrives or when it arrives. Arrives is a verb. So daily is describing the verb. Now you have to remember adjectives don't describe verbs. Right? Adjectives describe nouns. Adverbs describe the verb. So in the second one, daily is describing the verb. In the first one, daily is describing the noun. Okay? Early. So that's some examples. It is the early edition of the newspaper. Again, here we are describing the edition. That's an adjective. The newspaper arrives early. Again, we are describing when it arrives. So it's the adverb. So when you have a sentence and you are asked to identify the part of speech, see what that particular word is doing. Yeah? Early can be adverb or adjective. So what is early doing in that sentence? What is it describing? Is it describing the noun or is it describing the verb? Okay? Let's look at friendly. He is friendly. Is describing him as a person. Right? He behaves in a friendly way. Describing how he behaves. Behaves is a verb. They're describing how he describing the verb. It becomes a adverb. Okay? Got this here? Any confusion? See, why are we doing these rules? Because we get questions based on these. It's not learning grammar as in school, but be prepared to face any type of question that will come in your exam. Okay? What about fast? It doesn't end with LR. He is a fast runner. What is it describing? How he runs. So, it is describing him. Yeah? Is it describing how he runs? No. He is a runner. It's describing him. Yeah? If I say he runs fast, then fast is describing how he runs. Right? So, in your first sentence, fast is describing the person. What type of a runner he is. Second one is describing how fast he runs or how he runs. So runs is the work, what he does. So it's describing how he does it. Right? So if your word is describing how something is done, it's an adverb. If it is describing the subject, it's an adjective. Now hard. Another pair of words which can be used in different ways. It was a hard game. What's it describing? The game. What type it is. So, that's it. They played hard or they worked hard and worked. Yes? The game, yeah, it's an adjective. It's describing what? The game. So the game is a noun. Is the game a verb? No. Right? So anything that is not describing the verb will be the adjective. So if you are confused, you see, is it a verb or something else? If it's a verb, then you will identify as adjective. Okay. He is a loudspeaker. Yes, sir. He is not a loudspeaker, but he is a loudspeaker. So, what is loud describing? Quality, yeah, of the person. So it's an adjective. He speaks loud or he speaks loudly. Instead of loudly, we can say loud. Then describing speaks. So it's an adverb. If I say he is too loud, he is too loud. Adjective.
When there is a verb, right, it speaks, then only it is an act.
Yeah. So if your word is describing a verb, then it is an adverb. Adverb means describing the verb. Adjectives never describe verbs. Adjectives can describe a quality, a person, anything. Okay, good and well. He is a good runner. Now, if this were to be converted to an adverb, what will it be? He runs well. Good is not used as an adverb. Adverb of good is good. Okay, if you miss out on writing, doesn't matter. And anyway, share the PPT in the group. So, okay, now sometimes we have these words where the meaning changes. Yeah. So this is where there are questions where you are given the words in different sentences, and they'll ask you in which of these sentences is it used correctly, or in which of the sentences it is used incorrectly. So you should know the correct usage sometimes. A desk has a hard surface. Means it is describing the surface, right? Or it is tough. I hardly have time to sleep. Anything to do with tough? Here it means barely. Right? So just hard changing to hardly doesn't mean that it becomes an adverb. You have to look at the context. Right? So in a hurry, we have, so it could be an adverb like late and lately. Do they have the same meaning? When we use lately, something related to time. Yeah, doing something related to time. So if we arrive late at work, this will be would it be an adjective or adverb? What is it described? Late. What is late described? Arrive. Yeah. So this should be. Is it correct when we say adjective? Should be an adverb. Yeah. What about lately?
It is talking about person.
He hasn't been working lately. What is lately described? There's a confusion here, right? Let me break it down. In the first sentence, he arrived late to work. What is the late connected to? Work. That's why here we say given adjective. Right? And the second one, working, he hasn't been working lately. What is lately describing? How he is working. Right? So how he is working, it will be an adjective. So this is related to, is he working, is he not working? So is it describing how? No. So whether he is working or not depends on it. So when you have a sentence where you are little confused, break it up. Yeah. Simplify your sentence. It becomes easier to get your answer. I and hardly. Do they mean the same thing? Right? The picture is high on the wall. It shows you where the picture is. It's an object. Picture is highly valuable. The picture is valuable. How valuable? Highly valuable. So this is describing the adjective. Anything describing the adjective is an adverb. What are adverbs? Adverbs do work. They describe the verb or the adjective. Both ways. So you already have an adjective. Something is describing the adjective. That's also an adverb. Right? Free and freely. Water is free.
In an example, it says highly valuable. So highly becomes adjective.
Highly is an adjective. No. Your main adjective is valuable. The picture is valuable. Valuable is the adjective. Now you can't have two adjectives. Something describing the adjective is the adverb. So function of adverb is two ways. One, describing the verb. Second, describing an adjective. Right? So in this case, it is describing valuable, which is the adjective. So the picture is valuable. It's showing you how valuable. Okay? Okay, what about this one? Water is free. Free is an adjective or adverb? Adjective. You can speak freely. Adverb. It's describing how we can speak. Okay, so all good so far? Okay, therefore. Pretty. Very commonly used word in any place. Can be used in various ways. He is pretty lazy. What is pretty describing? How lazy. So it becomes adverb.
Because adverb.
He is lazy. What is lazy? Adjective. Describing him. Pretty lazy.
So
Describing lazy. So, adverb. Always remember that in a sentence, if you have two adjectives, when one is the main adjective, the other is describing the adjective. Right? And she is a pretty child. That's pretty as an adjective. She is pretty difficult to manage. What is the adjective here? Difficult. What is pretty doing? Describing the adjective. So it's an adverb. Yeah. So in any sentence, you have to see what the given word is doing. So adverbs can describe verbs and adjectives. Yeah. Short and shortly. Distance is short. Adjective. Yeah. We'll arrive there shortly. Shortly will be. What is shortly doing? Telling us when, right? So it's an adverb. Now real. Real can mean genuine, real can mean very. Yeah. So these will come across in vocabulary also. Right? So homophones, homonyms, when we go through those type of words. Okay, have you been doing anyone? Okay, now the group that Varshit had quite created. Yeah, there's a group. So please contribute to the group. Now what you will do is I will not ask you your words in class. So as you read every day, so for you knew one thing you do on a regular basis is build up on your vocabulary. So what are we supposed to do? Somebody explain.
reading books, articles.
Read books, articles, boring editorials, anything that is boring or interesting, of course. So while you read, you come up with words you don't know. Write the word look up the meaning, look up the synonyms, look up the antonyms, and how it is used in a sentence. Yeah. So initially we were doing this exercise first 10 minutes in class, where it takes up a lot of time. Therefore, there is a course. So we created a group. So anybody, you can share your number with anybody, so they can add you to the group. Right? So everybody, please, at least every alternate day, put in 2 words. So 2 words alternate day, how many words in a week? अब daily बोलेंगे तो we didn't get that. So I said alternate day.
8 to 6.
8 to 6 words. So, and 8 to 6 words amounts to how many words? Each word, if you look at the synonyms and antonyms, amounts to around 1 word amounts to 10, or at least 5. So, and you share it on the group, so everyone learns. There will be a collective learning process. Okay? So words with synonyms and antonyms, and everyone will add those words to their own exercise books. So you have your notebooks, you have your list of words, you have written down. Whatever words you are getting, new words, add them. And please write using a pen, paper, pencil, not that. Okay? So this don't forget to do. Okay, real. It's a real diamond means it's genuine. Right? So that's an adjective. That was real nice of you. Was adjective here? Nice. Real is describing the adjective. So it's a adjective. Yeah. Wow. Right. Can the different meanings of right? Can give me 2 meanings of right. Direction. And something that is correct. Any other meaning? Do this right away. Immediately. Can you do that way? Anything else? Let's see. Let's look at some sentence. So you are right means you are correct. So it's an adjective. The right fork in the road. There's a right turn in the road. Fork means? What do you mean by a fork on the road? The road is divided into 2 parts. So that's a fork. Right? So here it will be describing which fork? Adjective? The birds flew right over us. What is the right doing over here?
Exactly.
Telling
Describing
us
the adjective.
what is the adjective?
Over.
Over. Right? So they flew right over us. Right here is an adverb. It means directly over us. The wind blew my hat right off. So, what is it doing? The wind blew my hat off. Your off will be adjective. Right off, adverb. Yeah? We leave right away. So it means right verb. When are we leaving? Right verb. Do it right. What is that describing? How to do it. So these are your exercises. I think chapter 5 you've done, the first one. So you can do exercise 2 for assignment. Yeah. Anyone who hasn't done exercise, okay. Have you received your books? Yeah. So you can ask in the reception that you need your books for the year. Yeah. So chapter 5 you can do exercise 1 and 2. If you haven't done 1, then do 1. If you have done 1, then go to 2. And chapter 6 you will do exercise 1. Right? So that's it for this one. Okay. Want to do some more? Anna? Fatima, हो गया? ज़्यादा हो गया? ज़्यादा हो गया? Okay, so far, what did we do all this time so far? क्या किया अभी तक? Okay, we go backwards. And go adjective. Before that, verbs, tenses.
So now,
What else related to verbs?
subject verb.
Subject verb agreement. Anything else related to verbs, sentences? Passive voice, active voice, right? And direct speech, indirect speech. Yeah. Then what else before that? Nouns, pronouns. What related to pronouns? Pronoun agreement. Yeah. And how to use the correct pronoun. Pronoun of the subject, pronoun of the object. Right? So, are you added to the official group? Because I think at 2026. Okay. So that also I think will be added. So in that you will be able to see the previous lessons. Right? So every lesson every PPT we do, I shared with you. Right? So you can go through those. Videos are also available. You can go to the classroom videos. And whatever doubts you have, we'll solve it. Okay. So now we have a lot of time. Break तो नहीं चाहिए ना? We'll move on to something more. Unfortunately, the grammar is a very wide subject. Lots of things to do and lots of things to apply. So it's taking a little time. Because grammar means how many questions? Different exams, different number of questions. Yeah. If you talk about IPMAT and Go, how many questions? 5 to 6. Huh? Grammar based. Grammar based. IPMAT Indore doesn't ask you direct grammar. It's sentence improvement or sentence correction. Yeah. If you are doing diplomat, they will ask you direct grammar. Gautam will ask you direct grammar.
What do you mean by direct grammar?
Direct grammar means change the tense of the sentence. Identify the error in the sentence. So those are direct grammar questions. I think my Indore will give you a sentence, give you options, which is the best way of writing the sentence. Okay? So anyway, whatever you get, you have to apply grammar rules. So knowing the grammar rules is important. So now we move on to prepositions. So everything. School में कभी पढ़ा था prepositions. What are prepositions? Examples. On in simple. While learning for idea. कुछ तो complication होगा ना. Rules. Just the rules something which we don't remember. Right? Yes. So we know what prepositions are. They bring down is pronounced, so place, time, manner. Okay, everyone online, you can see the screen changing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So motive, cause. Now prepositions are followed by the noun, they are never followed by the verb. Rule number one. Yeah. If you have a verb, here. If you have a verb, the verb will come before the preposition. Yeah. So that's what we call prepositional phrases. So we know what basic prepositions are. Preposition of place. Yeah. Above, behind, across, along, below, beside. Simple. Yeah, we know these. Position. Down, under, by, from, in front, near, off. Simple things. Directions. On, opposite, outside, over, through, around. Time. At the end is also related to time. After, before, by, during, you know. So now what? As, like, about, these are also can be used as prepositions at some with certain words. Yeah. Now we will be learning some preposition phrases and usage of correct prepositions. Right? Preposition to preposition. But there are certain prepositions which may be confusing. When to use them. So what are prepositional phrases? So prepositional phrase itself can act as a noun, adjective, or adverb. Something like that. You do things, you will get to know what they are doing. Like if we say, he succeeded by means of perseverance. By means of is a prepositional phrase. That's what we call preposition. So by means of the whole thing is acting as a what? Noun है, adjective है, adverb है. How we consider it? Adjective होगा. Yeah. So here it doesn't matter whether it's an adjective, adverb, or that's just okay. Now, when you see means is in the middle. What's coming before? By. What's coming after? Of. So preposition phrases are those phrases which have prepositions in them, and only a particular preposition can be used with that verb. Right? So that's what we have to learn. Like according to. According will always come with to. You can't use according by, according in. Yeah? On behalf of. It will always be in that format. On account of. On is also preposition, off is also preposition. Right? We had done preposition phrases with off at one point. When did we do that? Remember? Identifying the subject of a verb. Yeah. Anything like a group of monkeys. What is the subject? A group of monkeys. What is the subject in this? So that's a compound subject, but our subject when we are that is related to the verb or pronoun will be you, not the monkeys. So when you have of in the middle, that's a prepositional phrase. Right? So whenever you come across of, you have to be alert. Of is very dangerous. Hmm? Yeah. If is hypothetical situation, what do we use? Past tense. And could, would, should. If I were the prime minister, I would do this. Yeah. If it would stop raining, I may go. May, might, hypothetical. Right? So hypothetical situation, you have present tense. You will never have will to be work. Would. Are no verb. Yeah. So you have to go back to the rules. Okay. Away will always come from with from. In spite of. We always use a phrase that in spite of, because of. Right? So here's where your preposition comes. Apart from basic prepositions, which talk about where, what. So again we come back to participles. Well, participles are the words ending with ed. Yeah. ing, ed, past participle, past continuous participle, we did all those. Yeah. So my project work is still pending. Still pending. Right? Your still becomes the prepositional phrase. Okay. Now these can also come in as prepositions, respected. We come to the usage in certain. Now that's why I say whenever you read the context, not just the words, but the context. Okay, let's go. So prepositions tell us location. Like in the tavern. Like in February, in has two functions. Place and time also. Now, what's the difference between in time and on time? Yeah. So these are little differences that we need to know. So preposition phrase is usually has a noun or pronoun, sometimes a verb, and a preposition only. Right? If you have a noun, then the preposition comes before, without, with. So if you have an adjective in the middle, preposition plus adjective plus the noun or pronoun will be an preposition phrase with the correct articles. In a yellow submarine, yeah. What do we have over here? The noun at the end, preposition plus the adjective. Right? So these we had done earlier also when we are doing adjectives of the best and brightest students. What is off doing over here? Telling you. What is it telling you? Yes. Repeat. What's off telling you? Something belonging to among all these. Yeah. So here we are using of. So we all know that, yeah, when we talk about a noun, it's always an object. So here the noun is known as the object of the prefix. Now so much details they will never ask, but it's just for you to know that what is the order in which it comes. Another thing, in a preposition phrase, the pronoun will always be in the object form. So what is the pronoun in the object form? Pronouns. What is an object? First of all, the object of a sentence. Yeah, what's the object of a sentence? Simplest way to remember. Object does the work. Am I right? Object does the work. Huh? Object does the work, right? Subject does the work. Object receives. Subject is always in the first part of the sentence, doing. Object is in the second part of the sentence. Right? So what is the pronoun form of, say, if you are referring to yourself? What is the pronoun as an object? I. as a subject, me. If you're talking about he, subject will be he, object will be him or him, right? So whenever you have a prepositional phrase, the pronoun will be in the object form, not the subject. Okay. Okay. So if you have us, so if you're confused, what do you do? Are you doing the work? Is us doing the work? No. So what form will do the work? We are going. Yeah. We were reading the book that my friend gave us. So what is the object? Us. Right? So object and subject in the pronoun of a pronoun is extremely important. We come across it all along. Now remember, all the grammar chapters we did are all into it. You can't say that we'll get questions on only verbs. Verbs के साथ pronoun, subject, object, everything is linked. Adjective is linked. Singular, plural is linked. Yes or no? Conjunctions are linked. Right? So grammar, none of the topics of grammar stand alone. They're all interlinked. Right? So it never, even if it is the first chapter we did, you can forget. So go back, revise. Okay, so itna aa gaya? So when we have with, Rosie will come with her and me. Her is the object form of she. Me is the object form of I. Why council members didn't explain about it was beyond us. Beyond us means something we didn't understand. That's a preposition phrase, means there's nothing to do with beyond. Yeah, it has to do with beyond, means it is over and above what we understand. Yeah, so in this case, beyond us means beyond our understanding. Right? Now let's see. Now we'll do some word pairs. Yeah, prepositional pairs. How to use them? At and in. Is there a difference in the usage? When would you use at? Anybody?
If you want to report a place or time.
Yeah, at a particular point of time. What about place? You use in also for place. What's the difference?
Like a point.
Bigger for at, smaller for in.
Right, for
It is used for place. In will be, I am in India. Will you say I am at India? I am in India. And in the same sentence, if you say I am in Mumbai, what will you use? I am in India at Mumbai. For the smaller entity, you will use at. Bigger entity, you use in. Right? So now at when you are referring to position, anything that is stationary, a small place, a precise point of time. These are the cases you will use at, right? Something which is not moving at the station. Now, if you are boarding the train, in the train, right? The train is moving. I am at the station. I am in the train, not at the train. And you will not say I am at the station. You can use at the station if you say I am at the station in the cab. So two things, one is bigger, one is smaller. For the bigger, in. For the smaller, for anything that is moving, in the bus, in the plane, in the ship. Yeah, anything that is stationary. Okay. Now, when you're talking about a place,
What about restaurant? What is this?
it depends upon are you comparing it to something else? I am at the restaurant. If you say it is a big restaurant, I am in the restaurant at table number this. At the table in the corner. So you have to see what is bigger, what is smaller. Yeah.
But I am in the restaurant, it's incorrect.
So if you look at the sentence, he lives at Surajkund in Haryana. What is the bigger entity? Haryana. Surajkund is smaller. Like we live at Kharghar in Navi Mumbai. Right? At Navi Mumbai in Maharashtra. So whatever is smaller will be at, whatever is bigger will be here. Like the train will leave at 6 in the morning. At 6, specific point of time. Morning is comparatively bigger. Right? So there's a difference in usage of at and in. Okay? Now what about on, out, and out of? Now if you look at this, on is used usually at a particular place, like place of work, or more I am traveling on the train. Right? Like he is on the estate. I am on, if you have a project to do, I am on the project. Means I am working on the project. Or you can say I am working on the project. You won't say I am working in the project. Working in the project can be used, you are part of the project. Then you will say I am working in the project. Okay? Now, how about days and dates? On a particular date or on a particular date. You use on. Okay? Now out. If you look up, if you browse, you will get an entire list of prepositional phrases without. And go to them. Simple we take. Get out of a vehicle, out of something. Or so when you use out, you usually use it with get out of. Yeah. Or you can also say, now you are traveling on the train. You have to alight from the train. What will you say? Get off. O F F. Right? You won't say get out of the train. If something is moving, you are getting out of it, you're getting off it. You get off the bus. Hmm? These are very, they seem to be very minute things, but they're very important. So whenever you get, say you come across OF and OFF, immediately you know there is something to do with usage of these two words. Now, to, into, and in. When you use to, lots of things. You're going to a place. Yeah, turn to the left. Direction. Hmm? Comparison. I prefer this to that. They prefer to get to hockey. Indirect objective, like in a sentence, you're giving it to somebody. Right? So now how about into? When do you use into? Specifically when it indicates movement into something else. Like the ball fell into the well or in the well? Into the well. Because a ball fell, means it was moving. I found the ball in the well. It was already there. Right? You won't say the boy dropped the ball in the well. What will you say? Into the well. Because he dropped it. There's movement. So anything that is related to movement will be into, not in. Yeah? Now into can also be used in like change of form or state. Water changes into gas or water vapor. The boy changed into a man as he grew. Movement and to go inside something, that also is movement. Right? Now you are involved in something, very interested in something. I am into music. I am into art. Yeah? Where also we can use into. So when do we use in? So in is usually used when we are talking about a confined environment or comparing comparatively a small environment, a small place compared to the whole. Right? I am in class. The class is in a building. Right? So he is in the office. I left my cars. He's in the car. Now, if I say she is sitting in the car, that's correct. She stepped in the car, into the car. Into the car. Because there's no movement. So whenever you are talking about movement, you will not use in, you will use into. Okay. Now, if you're talking about a specific period of time, then also you use in. The meeting is in an hour. I'll see you in half an hour. Now, what about a state of mind? She is in depression. She is in love. You also use in a specific state. Now, what about till and until? Time हो गया? कितना time हो गया? 2 minutes. You have another class after this? You have another class after this, or just getting bored? See, I can go 2 minutes beyond, I can't go 2 minutes less. Okay, till and until, what's the difference? When will you use till?
Time has passed.
Or till a point of time?
Yes, that's till for the time has passed and until will be done.
Okay, done. Yeah, makes sense. So till means up to a point, right? I will wait for you till 7 o'clock. Will you use until in that case? I will wait until you come or till you come. Until, yeah, till.
Okay.
We prefer to use the until, right? It can be, now usually till is used with to or from, right? So we work from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. We can say till 6:30 p.m. Yeah, examples are. So work till now until the there were visa applicants in our waiting room
Yes, yeah.
until 7. So they had been waiting till this time. So until. So, Baki, next week करेंगे? But you will go through what we have done. You can go through what we haven't done also. Because I'll be sharing the PPT. And these words, okay. Now you can do one thing. I'll share this PPT. You will go through the words. I will ask in class. Okay? The pair of words that will be there. Okay? So there was pair of words in the book also. So this will be volume 1 नहीं ये module 3 वाला this one. You get the preparations in module 3. Okay? Okay then, I think one more class for grammar, or maximum 2, and then we will do some exercises in class. You want to do exercises in class or you want to do on your own? कुछ भी चलेगा, खुद नहीं करना पड़ेगा. Okay, the assignments you written down. Or do I have to remind from the group again? Amen. Okay then, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So,
Thank you, ma'am.
Good day, ma'am.
Bye.
that's it. Yeah, you give me, give me your full name.
ARL.
Yeah. Someone,
AAURT. KHR26.
Where do you study?
I studied with pure
11th or 12th?
11th standard.
Okay, make sure you get your study material and you get your name added to the group also. Yeah.